Another thing to note is that in written Chinese, there are two types of characters. One is simplified Chinese, which is shown at the top. That's used in mainland China, Malaysia, and Singapore. And the traditional character, which is used in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. So if you just look at it, you can see like some of them look the same. For example, the second character here, they look exactly the same as one another, but the first one, they look different. And the first line looks a bit simplified, which is why it's called simplified Chinese. So those two basically mean the exact same meaning. There's no other difference in them except that one has fewer strokes than the others. But in terms of pronunciation, in terms of meaning, they are exactly the same. And throughout the slide, we'll be presenting both the simplified version and the traditional version of the character, both in the slide and in the handout. So you can get a feel of how they look different. Okay. So I saw more people have walked in. People who just joined in can open your phone and scan this QR code to open the handout we are going to use today. All right. And you can also type the URL on the board. It's the same thing. All right. So again, so we have two characters here in simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese, and pinyin. So as I said, each character could map to one or more pronunciations, and people just have to memorize them. And to help people learn Chinese, even to help kids learn Chinese, like Chinese kids learn Chinese, we also utilize pinyin. Usually we write pinyin on top of the character to indicate what it sounds like, and then gradually you can kind of remember them and stuff. So in this presentation, we'll be focusing on pinyin a lot because that's how you are going to be start to pronounce Chinese by looking at the pinyin. And in the future, you might gradually go from pinyin to the character themselves to understand the pronunciation and learn the Chinese. It's kind of different from other languages such as English, where there's less focus on that. So there are 4 tones in Chinese, and we will go through all four of them to begin with and get a feel of what they sound like. So the first tone is it's called the high tone. It's kind of a high and flat tone. So this character here, mother, is called ma. Yes. So yes, I see you are already repeating after me. So this is a good way to get a feel for this, where we could everyone just kind of think of us like we are in a choir or an orchestra, where everyone just kind of follow the pronunciation and try to do it together. Okay, so one more time. Ma. Yes. Okay. So this is the first character, hopefully. So you can see the first tone. So you can see it's indicated by the little flat bar on top of the vowel A. So that indicates it's a first tone, and you can remember it because it's a flat symbol and it's like a high and flat tone. Ma. Okay. So second tone. This is called the rising tone. So it has this symbol of kind of a upward stroke, and the sounds are also kind of rising. So here this means none. So this is pronounced as ma. Yeah. So you can I hope you can kind of hear there's a rising tone to it, going up, and that's reflected in the symbol. Third tone. It's low tone, but I prefer to see it as like a high tone. So you can see on the symbol, it's kind of like a U-shaped, V-shaped, and here this is pronounced ma. So this means horse, and you can kind of hear it's. First, it started high, get a bit low, and then high again. Ma. Okay. So that's the third tone. And finally, the last tone is just falling tone. So you can see the symbol is going down now. So this is God, and that's from the Fabulous Beast, I think the cartoon. So this is pronounced ma,
Ma.
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 Yes, so you can kind of see that this is starting kind of high and then falling downwards. Ma.
Ma.
Okay, so now you've heard all four tones. That's it. There are no more tones in Chinese. It's I think there are languages that with even more tones. Like I know more dialects with more tones. Like Cantonese have I think 8 or 9 tones. But Mandarin Chinese just these 4 tones. Let's practice them again. So the first tone, flat, high, high and flat. Ma.
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 Okay, second tone. Ma.
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 Starting low, rising high. Third tone. Ma.
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 So start high, low, high, low, high. Ma.
Ma.
Yes, great job everyone. And then the final one, falling tone. Ma.
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 So these are the 4 tones, and they will basically appear on every character's pronunciation, and they will be marked on the vowel. Okay, so let's talk about kind of how important are tones and how you should kind of think about it. So here we can see like there's a spectrum of how you might approach the tones. You might have the kind of English mode, where you have kind of random tones or atonal or like no tones. And then on the other side, you might have an opera mode where it's very pronounced, very mechanical, or maybe even almost like a text-to-speech computer voice, where it's a very harsh and articulated. And in the middle, we have like a wide range of things, like you might be like a more loose and casual tone. You might have a more slow, formal, exaggerated, enunciated tone. And those are kind of the range of things that how the native speakers might speak. And native speakers might use different kind of style depending on the context, like if it's with friends or if it's in a formal situation. So for example, let's say I'm just talking with a friend right now. I might say, 我这周来了这个圣何塞的这个寿具，我觉得这是一个很有趣的一个事情。我在这里买了很多东西，我在这里见到了很多朋友。You can see this in a more casual, situation. The tone might be less pronounced, and they might be merging together even because it's fast. But on the other hand, if we look at this, news report, okay. I think the audio doesn't work, but just go look at any official Chinese news media report. You can find out that they pronounce everything very clearly. They pronounce every tone very clearly, and they pronounce things slowly, because that's kind of the more formal situation that demands that. I think some people ask like how where on the spectrum like should a beginner start? So from the advice that I've heard from others, that it's better to start on the more right-hand side, which is the more pronounced, more articulated side, so that you can understand the tones more correctly, and you can kind of gradually tone down and be more casual in the future, something like that. And in most cases, like if you're just starting to learn Chinese, what I've observed is that tones kind of, if the listeners know the context of what you are speaking of, tones are usually less of an issue, because the listeners can likely infer what characters you are supposed to say based on the context. But if it's in a completely like a random situation where you are saying something random, the tone will become very, very important, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult to guess which character you are referring to, because remember, each character maps to a pronunciation, and a pronunciation could map to multiple different characters. That's something that's also kind of different from English, because a single pronunciation usually just maps to one or two words. At most, I guess, 2 words in English. I can't really think of more than that. But in Chinese, so let's go back to this tone example. So for example, 发音 here, you can see it, 发音, those are 2 pronunciations, but the pronunciation 发 could map to many other characters as well. And yin could also map to many other characters. So by using the tone correctly, you are giving the reader the enough context to infer what words you actually mean, what characters you actually mean from the pronunciation. So to give you a more extreme example of why tone is important, this sentence. So let's start with pinyin. So you see, it's just it's OSHI. But you can, if you look up at the characters, you can see they look quite different from one another. And I think SHI is one of those characters that's extremely versatile, the pronunciation, and it maps to, I think, tens of characters. So if I speak this clearly, 事实是, 史实, 实实是, 事实的, you can see there's the different tones has the different the different tones kind of convey that's the only thing that conveys the characters here, because otherwise they sound exactly the same. If you are kind of sloppy and uncareful about tones, you might end up something like 实实实实实实实实实实实, and like no one would understand what that is. Well, admittedly, this is a very contrived and made up example, and like I think if I don't know the characters here, I might even have trouble figuring out what this means. But this is just like a exaggerated way to show that tones matters in many situations, and they could sound very similar to one another if you don't care, and it might be hard for people to understand. Oh, and the other thing, if you notice, when I was speaking, if I need to speak clearly, there's word boundary. So let me speak this again. 事实是, 史实, 实实是, 事实的. You can see, even though there's no spaces, unlike English or Korean or other languages, they have spaces between words to indicate word boundary. There's no spaces or any other visual indication of word boundary, but there is still, the word boundary still exists. So which was why I could speak at groups of 2 or 3, because they are actually still dividing the sentence into different words. And in normal oral communication, it's usually not that pronounced. People just speak together. So if I speak this fastly, 事实是史实是实实事实的, there's really no word boundary there, and you will have to figure it out yourself, basically, where to cut the word from each other. But if we speak so slowly and we want to make sure people understand, we might add breaks manually in between the words to indicate that. So, any questions so far?
Oh, yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
Of course, tones are, they're very foreign to a language like English.
Yeah.
Do you know historically if tones had a different purpose or where they came from historically in Chinese?
Yes. Very good question. From what I've read before, I'm not expert in this, but from what I've read before, ancient or like more classical, more ancient Chinese has way more tones than these 4 tones that we right now have in Mandarin Chinese. So as I already said, like even some more modern dialect that Chinese have right now, like Cantonese, already have more tones. And I think historically this is to distinguish between different characters. So let's go back to this example. So like we have many characters in Chinese, and I think when we used to have more tones, these will be easier to distinguish because each pronunciation, which means each kind of pronunciation plus tone, maps to fewer characters. So that kind of makes the communication there easier, and especially because in I think in more Asian Chinese, it's more common to have a single character word versus in modern Chinese, it's very common to have 2 character or 3 character words. So which means to distinguish different characters, I think they try to use tones to kind of make it easier to distinguish different characters, especially when there are so many single characters that conveys meaning by itself. So you cannot rely on like 2 words combination to determine the meaning together. So I think that's, from what I read, one of the reasons why there were many tones in Asian Chinese, and it's kind of getting condensed and merged together until we get kind of this right now for Mandarin Chinese. So that's my understanding. I don't know if any native speaker in the room has anything to add here. No. Any other questions? Yeah.
So if you go back to that example thing, so I noticed that the first and third characters are the same like tone.
Which one?
If you go back to the
Oh yeah.
So like, how do you differentiate those characters, like the first and the third one?
Yeah. So if you just say it by itself, like if I just tell you 是, you cannot distinguish them. If without any context, without any prior knowledge, or like what you are talking about, there's no way you could know which one I'm talking about. There's just no way. But when it's in a sentence, and you know many words and many contexts, that wouldn't be a problem, because you will know, for example, if I say 事实, it's most likely that I'm referring, the first character is this character, just because 事实 is a very common word that you would use. So yeah, to answer the question, just by a single pronunciation without any context, it could arbitrarily map to it could potentially map to all the characters that has that same pronunciation and tone. But in a sentence, it's more likely you can distinguish them because the combination kind of narrows their use. And first the word narrowed their use, and then the sentence, kind of the sentence structure, the sentence meaning, the sentence context further narrow it down. So that's kind of how we could try to distinguish different characters from, even if they have the same pronunciation. But that's a very good observation. Any other question? All right. Oh yeah, by the way, this sentence means like the fact is that historical facts are sometimes inaccurate. It's still a fluent sentence, I would say, like even though it's very constructed. So let's look at some uncommon pinyin letters, I guess, that you might not know how to pronounce. So first one is X, which is obviously hard since even X, I think X in English is already hard enough to think what's the pronunciation. But X is pronounced as a hissing, so like sh, sh, so as like sh, as in sheep or something like that. So example here, I think it's very topical right now. So this is the red note F, if you don't know. And so this is pronounced 小红书.
小红书，
小yeah, so hopefully you can kind of hear the hissing sound here. So that's, I think, and another example. Hope you pronounce correctly in the future once you read it in the after you learn this. So 习 yes, okay, so 习近平 yes, okay, so that's the X sound, it's just the hissing okay. So next sound, C, the C in pinyin is kind of pronounced as T is kind of there's also the IPA. So this this will be pronounced 草
草
草
草
草
草
草.
草
So together 草
草
草.
草草
Yeah. So yeah, and as noted here, it's not 好考. All right. So that's the C sound. Q sound. So Q sound kind of like so like we're gonna say like as in cheese. Yes. So 请
请
请
请
Okay, so 请
请
使
使
黄
黄
黄
黄
请使黄.
黄君使
Okay,
黄
so that's the emperor of the Qin dynasty. So 秦.
秦
Okay. Okay. So next. Sorry. Does anyone say something? Okay. Any questions so far?
理解
Alright. So next up, there are some more obscure rules, which I think will be very confusing to you if we go over them literally. So let's just look at the pronunciation example. So here, the E in most cases, basically in most cases you see would be pronounced as a. So this thing here is 德, the second character. 德.
德
So you can see it kind of like has a sound. So this will be 彼得,
彼得
彼得.
彼得
So as you might have guessed, it's the transliteration of Peter. So another interesting fact here, since we're talking about transliteration, is that since, as we said, each pronunciation like maps to many different characters. There's in transliteration in Chinese from other foreign languages, it's very common to assign like positive or negative words to a positive or like characters that convey a positive or negative meaning to a particular pronunciation when you are transliterating it. So, for example, America in Chinese is called 美国. So you can see the 美 there is the kind of the transliteration part of like the America, the map part in America. So 美 by itself to the question that someone had before, like which character does that map to? Like there's no set rule for which character that would map to. It could map to one of many characters that happen to pronounce 美. And because 100 years ago, Chinese thought America was a great country, they mapped the 美 into the character that means beautiful. So that's so basically in Chinese, America is like beautiful country. That's the literal translation of the 美国, the words there. So like kind of, so you can see in transliteration there, it's unlike many other languages where you just get the pronunciation with no meaning associated with it. Once you transliterate something in Chinese, it's very common that it would have like an inherent good or bad meaning about that. So that's 彼得, 德.
德
Okay, so next one is the I sound after Z, C, and S. So this is 司 司马迁
司马迁
Okay, and if it's after ZH, CH, SH, and R, these are getting more confusing, but just focus on the examples. So this is the second character here, that would be the example. So this would be 史
史
史
史
So it says double R here, but it's not like a rolling R or anything. It's just shi.
史
Okay, so 秦始皇.
秦始皇
Okay, so that's the kind of the uncommon letters that you might not think about how to pronounce in Pinyin. So now that's all kind of the introduction to Pinyin pronunciation. Any other questions so far before we jump into vocabulary?
I guess you don't have a slide for yu or versus u.
No. Okay, let's do that.
It's in the second phrase here.
Okay,
Okay, since I now have to write on the whiteboard. Okay, so
all right. Is this
can everyone still hear me if I say it like this? Yeah. There are two other ones, two other vowels. So U and I guess U plus two dots at the top. So here let's say this. So this let's say this. This is U, so pronounce lu.
Lu.
Okay. And this with two dots at the top, that would pronounce this thing would pronounce lu. What's another example?
Well, L and N are the only ones that will have both
Okay,
U
so,
and U,
so
right?
this this would be nu. I don't think any character matters to that. But that's a theoretical pronunciation you could have. Alright, so there's that.
I think one distinction you want to make is that some consonants, when they have a U after them, they have to be the second one without the dots, but they don't get represented with the dots.
Yes.
So for example, if you have a YU, it's never the U sound, it's always the U sound. And that's why like for the second row there, like shu yu, like the U after the SH is the U sound, but the U after the Y is the U sound. Because some characters just I guess that's how the rules were written.
Yeah. So for example, this would be yu, which rhymes with nu or lu. So like it's as if there are two dots here.
But they throw away the two dots if it doesn't.
Yeah. For some reason. And another example here would be X. So remember X, we talk about X as so this is shu, which also rhymes with lu. Yeah. So yeah, I think X and Y are the ones that would rhyme with the two dot.
Q as well.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So shu. So remember Q is kind of the ch sound in cheese. So shu. Okay, thank you. But all the other ones pronounce the wu sound. So like lu, this is like the normal wu sound. Lu.
Do you want to do ZH as well? Sorry.
ZH.
I think that's an important one.
Yes, okay. ZH. So let's say U again. So this U here is this normal U. So this is pronounced chu. And this is like the chu. So I don't know how to describe it, but that's this sound.
I think you can say it's just similar to a J sound.
I guess, okay, yeah. Chu. So let's think of another one. S-O-N-G. So that will be zhong. Alright, any other suggestions?
I just like to add for the double dots disappearing rule. J is actually one of the ones that if you say JU, it's also those hidden dots.
Okay, so then this J is pronounced, this is a G. Are they similar? So this is G. Okay, they're kind of different, I guess. G.
去
again, that rhyme with 绿 or
绿
绿去句序欲去绿 you can they all end the same. So yeah, there are some obscure rules of pinyin that you might need to remember and learn. Okay, any other questions? Alright, let's go to the handout for vocabularies. So, and the handout also has also shows what we talked about so far regarding pinyin and pronunciation stuff. Since we are furries here, let's start with animal species. So I want to do this more interactively. So like if someone would volunteer and say what their persona species are, and we can learn the character or the pronunciation for that. All right.
Border collie.
Okay. Let's say it's a dog. And we can go. There's the more specific name for that too. But let's start with dog. So, which is the second one. So, P-O-U. I don't remember.
O.
No, but I don't remember if it's on O or
O 上面
U. Because I learned that like in elementary school. Which vowel I should put the tone on, and I don't remember that. So this is dog. So go.
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 I also have the what the Chinese language thinks that the sound of a dog sounds like on the right. So it's wang wang. So
One.
yeah, apparently I always thought it's wang wang, but apparently the correct tone is wang wang. Wang wang. So I guess that kind of you can imagine a dog
One.
barking like that, but that's kind of the animal sound of that. So, and that's kind of the first tone. So wang, 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 wang. Now you can say you can say how dog bark in Chinese, I guess. And another thing to note here. So you can see even though the dog itself is only that single character go on the right, you can see there are still two characters on the left. So that's kind of the counting word in Chinese. So in English you say like one dog or a dog. In Chinese, but for in English, for most of the word you say like a dog, one dog. But for example, you say a cup of coffee, things like that. So in Chinese, basically every noun is like that. You have to add a cup of or something. So here, that particular word for go is 条 or so you can say 条. Yes. So 一条. Yeah. So that would mean like one dog. And that's like when you are referring to like a specific dog, you would just say 一条狗. So or like it would refer to one dog. 一条狗. And you can, after working out this class, you can claim you know one Chinese character already. That just means one with one stroke, so it's very easy to remember. And by the way, so guess what this means?
3,
5, yes, 2 and 3, yes. So so this is er, so this is pronounced R.
R.
And this would be S-A-N, fourth tone,
First tone.
Yes. So this would be san. So you know 3 characters now working out of this panel. It's very easy to remember. Yes.
So if I'm writing a check, if I can just put another line again, that was more.
So very good question. So that's why they invented a more complicated number system for in Chinese for checks specifically, or for other things that might suffer from that, where they have very complicated. Let me see if I can find this. So it's because it's very interesting that they actually think about that. they have so similar to English, where you write like the full pronunciation or like the full spelling of all the thing.
写中文支票，
怎么知道怎么搜吗？
你就搜中文支票不就完
中
了？
文支票。Okay, yeah, these. So you can see they look extremely complicated now. And instead also that's like that's like 1, 2, 3, 4. So now you cannot just add one more stroke to the character and replace double your amount. So that's kind of why that exists. One of the reasons. Okay, and by the way, just to be clear, 4 is not this. This is not. There's a joke where like someone quit learning Chinese after learning these 3 characters, and now someone asks, "Can you write 100?" and they just start writing 100. So don't do that. So and the specific species, what's the species? 边牧.
边界牧羊犬。
边境牧羊犬. Yeah, that. So. And by the way, there's if we go to DuckDuckGo, the search engine, and you search pinyin and then put in the character there, it will show you the pinyin. So that's a neat trick. So you can see this is 边境牧羊犬. Okay, so that's I guess the specific word. It's like border
shepherd.
Yeah, border shepherd.
Because German shepherd is you just replace the first 2 characters with German.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, German. 德国牧羊, yeah, if it's German, yeah. Okay, so okay, we got the dog down. Okay, anyone else? Okay.
Lion.
Okay, so now here we have so 狮 so okay, so you can see on this character there's no tonal sign on it. It's just a normal I here, and that's kind of the I guess the 5th tone, which is no tone. So like that's so when I say this 狮子, so this is shorter and like kind of I don't know how to describe the one without tone, but it's neutral maybe.
Yeah, it's the same sense as if you do like a 你好吗, right?
Yeah, it's similar to that.
it's
Yeah.
ma.
You just don't assign a tone to it, or
Yeah.
actively try to not assign
Yeah,
a tone
it's
to it.
like a very short.
Yeah. Yeah, it's short and it's kind of fast and low, I guess. So 狮子 So 狮子. Yes. Okay, and the countable word is头, which let me write that down. That literally means a head, so like the head of lion, I guess.
I would compare it with like, why is it called a pride of lions or murder of crows? Like,
Yeah,
there's no reason for it.
there's
So
no
you just have
real,
to know
yeah, just
the countable word.
So
头
狮子.
Z
So let's write so. Okay, so this is the word 狮 and this is the word 狗. We just if you notice the character, you can see on the left hand side. Let me use a different marker. On the left hand side, they kind of have to look the same. So that's kind of another characteristic of the Chinese character, where things of similar characteristics sometimes share similar writing. So in this case, this side of the writing usually means that it's something related to animals, I guess. It could be that, but it could also be many other things. But you can see, and if you just look at the thing here, you can already find some other things with that, like the cat has that, the wolf has that, the fox has that, the lion has that, and that's kind of it. So you can see like they share similar characteristics with each other. just an interesting thing to note about. And oh, by the way, there's no sound pinyin on the right because I guess we don't have a sound for that for lion, so we don't have that unfortunately. Okay, anyone else?
They're a curveball at you.
Oh.
鲨鱼.
Shark? Yeah, you already said it. It's a
Shark.
Wait, shark?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's see that. 鲨鱼. So that's
上面一个沙滩的沙，下面一个鱼。
yes. So 鲨鱼. 鲨鱼. So remember we say the this is as if there are two dots. So 鱼. Alright, and that's shark. And I think it uses the same count as dog, right? 一条吧. Yeah, 一条. So somehow it shares the same count words with dog.
I think dog one is more flexible. Usually 条 is used for snakes and long things.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, so a shark is a long thing, I guess.
Any fish is go.
Yeah, but if you don't know, if you want to guess, you can just use 只 because you can see almost everything else here uses 只, which is a very flexible one. What else? Yeah.
Kangaroo.
Nice. Okay. 袋鼠. Okay, so 袋鼠. And I guess you would use 纸袋鼠, right?
Probably. I don't know at this point.
纸. Okay. 纸袋鼠. Okay. So since we have 袋鼠 here, let's look at this one. 老鼠. So that's 老. And it's the same 鼠. So that's rat or I guess rat or mouse. We don't distinguish that. But you can see somehow we think kangaroo and mouse are both 鼠, I guess, kind of.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
How about guinea pig?
Guinea pig. 仓鼠嘛.
That's like hamster, but sure, same thing.
Are they the same thing?
Kind of the same thing in
I
Chinese.
thought I read somewhere that guinea pig is like Netherland pig or something.
Twins.
I've never used that, but it could be.
No, twins.
I would just call it 仓鼠. Like
Yeah, I
it,
think twins is obviously.
No,
it's
Tangshu
also-
is smaller.
Okay.
Tangshu is like.
but
Okay, let's write them down and just practice in front of them.
豚二重.
So, 仓
It should be flat on the A, I think on 仓.
仓
仓
鼠
鼠
仓鼠
仓鼠
豚
豚
鼠.
豚鼠
So you can see like that's another kind of characteristic of Chinese where like we group similar things no matter whether you agree them or not to like with a common kind of and character in the end. So another example, like every country in Chinese kind of you can end it with like a character that means country. So like I said, 美国, America is like beautiful country. There's like France is 法国. That's also ended with the same 国, which means country, and that means lawful country. And English means gentle country, England, and then like for those countries they all have very beautiful names in Chinese. Okay, what else?
Do your own one.
Oh, okay. So I'm a coyote, but unfortunately coyote doesn't exist in Eurasia, so we don't really have a name for that. I'll just go for wolf. There is a name, but I'm not sure if it's common or not. Let's go for wolf first. So it's a single character one. Yeah, so another thing to note is that there are some like single character animal here, some double characters. There's really no reason to why there are some are like that, but they're like that. And so that's another example of how you can see there, even with just one pronunciation or one character, that could already convey an entire word meaning by itself. So this is wolf. So 狼
狼
lang. So you can see that's the writing. You can see that it has that side again. That you can call it animal side, I guess. The side where we're writing for that. So coyote. The word I like is 郊狼, kind of like suburb or like suburb wolf kind of for first tone. For coyote. So 郊 狼 Okay, so but really since they don't exist, there's not really many people needing to refer to them in Chinese, I guess. Anyone else?
I can go.
Okay.
Dragon.
Okay. That's the one you probably already heard somewhere, because in English sometimes people refer to as L-O-O-N-G, I think. So long. So that's second tone. Long. So that's the I guess by itself it mostly means, I guess, just dragon. I don't know if it specifically Chinese dragon or not. It's just general dragon.
You have to refer to Western dragons as the same character, so it doesn't. It's like it's like a direct translation of the word dragon.
Yeah. Okay. Long. So interesting fact. If you add the long, that means dinosaurs. Like the actual animal dinosaur. So like, and the kong here, the character for here is like horrifying. That's the character. So like horrifying dragon. That's like dinosaur. So that's an interesting thing. Okay.
Can you do the sound for wolf?
So this.
Oh.
I found this, but I'm pretty sure this is not in the dictionary. But I can, yeah, so. Like, it's kind of like a woo, but I don't think this is in the dictionary, but people do use that word. And by the way, that ao here, A-O, that's the same as the A-O in my name. So ao. It's not the same character, but it's the same pronunciation. Okay, so any other?
In the handout, it says like I'm a hyena.
Yeah.
Do you have to have a counter? Or you can't just be like I'm hyena?
I think it's optional.
Yeah, you don't have to have the 意志 in front of it. You can say 我是猎狗.
Yeah, you can skip the first two.
Because I am is enough verbs. Or like,
Yeah, I think. So you can, okay, so since we mentioned that, let's say how to say like I am a particular animal. So
我是
yeah.
我
是 and then you can add whatever we learned above here. So for example, I would say 我是郊狼 or 我是一只郊狼. If we can skip the word, I think. So anyone want to practice, try it, see what they are with this? Okay.
我是狮子。
Yes. 狮子 yes.
狮子。
Yes. 我是狮子 yes. Perfect. And another word that I promised to teach in the description of the panel, how to say cute and handsome. So the word cute by itself is 可爱.
可爱.
So like literally this means like lovable, but it means cute. Like able love kind of means that. So and if you want to say someone is like cute, yeah, you can just say 可爱, or you can add like a 好.
So cute.
好. So this literally means good, but like it can together it can mean like oh, so cute or like very cute. That kind of it implies that you're talking to them. So yeah. 好
好
可
爱
爱 So 好可爱
好可爱
好可爱 Yeah, so say that to your friend. The handsome, yes. So it is a single character word, but it's a very long pinyin. Yes, okay, so this is 帅
帅帅
And of course you can also add 好 before that. So 好帅
帅
Okay, so 好帅
好帅
Okay, so now you know those two words. So a fun fact is that at ANE right now in Boston, I think Yachi, who made this slide and this handout, is also hosting this Chinese session exactly right now. So we are seeing if we could do a remote session over there. So I'm not sure how it would work. I texted them. While we are waiting, let's get to some furry vocabulary, or at least kind of the important, the kind of interesting bit. So just by looking at this, so this is everything related to fur. So just like in English, you can see all of them start with fur. In Chinese, all of them starts with like 瘦.
瘦
So that's 瘦.
瘦
So that literally means like beast. Yeah, but that's kind of the prefix everyone chose for furry related stuff. So the first one, furry, as in furry the fandom. There's the one translation which is like 瘦米, which means like beast fan, I guess. And I think people wanted to make it sound more natural, so they use a more people are using the transliteration of furry instead. So that's the second one here. So that's a transliteration. That's like from the English furry. So that's 福 on I. Okay. 福
福瑞
So that kind of sounds like furry. And as I explained before, Chinese transliteration basically embed meanings in them. So this particular translation, the first one, 福, like it means like fortune or lucky and stuff. So like that they already kind of embed that information. So this word looks very cute because people would associate this with like fortune and stuff. And the last character there is like 空.
空
空. That is kind of a suffix to say that I guess you like a fandom or something. The suffix for that, I think. But if you just say 福瑞, that's also understood as furry. Let's also just get over this one since you probably want to say it. 你好, or you probably already know this, but it showcases another interesting pinyin that is kind of interesting. So 你好 So individually, this character is 你好 So you would think it would sound like 你好 but if you have two characters that are both the third tone, the first one changes to the second tone. So this would be 你好 So it would be 你好 Yeah, so that means hello, and now you can say it with the correct tone.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Does that also apply to more formal circumstances as well?
You could do that, but in more formal situation, you probably would say 您好
您好
That just makes it more formal.
Okay, but you'd still have the tone shift?
Yes. The tone shift is not on this word. The tone shift is every two characters that are both the third tone. You would shift the first one into the second tone.
So it happens for mouse as well, which was 老鼠.
Yes. So if we look at, yes, good point, or 老虎
Or tiger.
Yeah, tiger, okay. So let's say we have, and by the way, I never realized this until you actually taught me the other day that there's this root because it's, I guess I forgot about this. 老 鼠 but together it became 老 鼠 yeah, and similarly this will be 老 虎 so that's tiger, and the word 老 here means like old, I guess. So tiger and rat are old, or maybe big, or like senior maybe, something like that. Okay, so 你好. So this 好, 好 here, this is the exact same character as the one we learned for cute, or like so cute. That's also like 好. So 好可爱 is the same as 你好. That the 好 here is the exact same character. So because it conveys the meaning of good.
So 你好 just means you good.
Yes. So 你 means you, 好 means good. So you good. And if you want to refer to more than one person, you would change the 你, which is you to 大家. So you would say 大家好.
大家好.
Yeah, so that means hi everyone. And 大家 here literally means like a big family, but that just means everybody. And then maybe goodbye. So there are two ways. One way is the transliteration of English, so just the same. What's the tone for bye?
The second one is still the arch. Bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye bye.
It's second. I would say it's second tone.
I say it.
Bye bye.
Are you sure that's how it is? I just say bye bye. Okay, that's a bye bye. Okay, so let's just pronounce the tone. So, bye. That's twice, I guess. Bye. So yeah, that's bye bye. Transliteration of bye bye. And if it's more formal, it will be 再见. So that's a more formal one, and that's like that. This means like again see, so like see you again, something like that. Okay, any question? Clark? No one got anything? Any random quest? Okay, let's go over more furry vocabularies and pronounce the SH. If we want to say, say fur count, as we are in England right now, so that's remember that everything starts with show.
John.
So I guess another interesting language point here. So in English you have furry convention. You could shorten that to fur count, right? So in Chinese you can do the same by shortening to in most cases to the first character. So for example, 寿展 here. 寿展 here. You can the full name is likely 寿迷展会. So you can see like these two, remember from the first line it means furry defendant, and second one is 展会, it's just convention. So you shorten it by taking the first character of each word, and that's kind of a very common thing to do the shortening in Chinese. And similarly, if it's a fur meat, this would be 寿具.
There's a hidden dots there.
Yes, this is the one that rhymes with the one with the dot. So that's also a shortening of like 寿迷聚会, where the second one means like meeting or meetups. And okay, and let's talk about a very interesting one. 出毛. So fursuit as in the verb, like you like to fursuit, not as the noun, but as the verb. In Chinese, they kind of invented their own way of saying that, which has nothing to do with show anymore. 出 毛 出 毛 which so 出 here means out, 毛 here means fur. So like out fur kind of this I think this is a scene that's kind of invented in the context there, but I think it's a very interesting one because this one deviates from everything we saw here. Every other word that starts with fur. Okay, we have 10 minutes left. I think they are online. Okay, we'll probably just do Telegram on my phone. Works. All right. Hello, 你好，你好。
您好。
You see everyone here?
Hello.
大家说我们刚才 Okay, say what we say what we learned just now about at least this one.
你好。你好。
Right.
Sauce and tuna?
Let me check my microphone settings. Okay, the sound coming from somewhere. I don't know if we're actually
All right. While they're doing that, practice the second one. 大家好，大家好。
Okay.
Can you hear us? Oh no, battery's from low. Yeah, we can hear you very clearly. They can't hear us. So I guess yeah, we're in Telegram. Let's practice this one. 再见 Okay, so can we now say this one without me saying it?
大家好。
Yes. Okay.
We have another teacher in this class. I don't know if we can hear each other because I figured out. But yeah, those are FC classes. And hello from Annie.
你好。
No, we can hear you. We can hear.
Well, they can't hear us.
Yeah.
Oh well.
We could just say like hello to San Jose. San Jose in Chinese is
What?
San Jose. 圣何塞.
maybe they're saying something to us right now.
Okay. Okay, we will say A&E is in Boston, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we will say 波士顿. Okay. Let me write that down. Yeah, so even though they couldn't hear us. Or
They can hear us. Okay.
波士顿。
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 So that's a Boston. So I guess we can say 波士顿你好. So say that.
波士顿你好。
Yes. they have, I think, they have some. Okay. Okay, we at least we said it even though they didn't hear it. Okay, 7 minutes. Okay, any questions? Okay.
How does Chinese sentence structure compare with English? Is it still mainly subject, verb, object, or is it different?
So it's I think from what I heard, I'm not expert in grammar, but from what I heard, in most situations it's the same order. So subject, verb, object. There are like obviously different cases that they might be different, but in most cases it's the same. So a very like an example everyone uses to illustrate that is how you say I love you. So that's the exact same word character by character translation, basically with no order difference. So this is 我爱你 So remember we've learned all this pronunciation before. So this 我 is when we learned the what species you are. 我是 So that's the same 我 and I. That's the character we learned from so cute, lovable, 可爱 and 你 of course is the word we learned in hello. So you've learned every one of these characters now, and just by combining their literal meaning, you basically construct the exact same sentence I love you in English. Yeah.
What are the popular furry cons in China?
So there's I was actually just at one last December in Shanghai. So I think there are quite a few furry cons, but they are not as big as the ones here. They are usually around so the one that I went to, this one, it's like Winter Fur Fest. This one I think had 400 maybe people there. But the small I think this is already kind of the biggest one in China. So the smaller one are usually like on the 100, I guess 100, something like that. But okay, so one thing I noticed is in Chinese con the fursuiter proportion is a lot bigger. So this is like from the con you can see like there are a lot of fursuiters, even though there's not many attendees in total. So I would say like maybe 60% of 50% of them are fursuiter. So basically one fursuiter, one handler, and that's like the ratio there. That's what I noticed. Which I would say is because it's cheaper to get fursuit in China compared to here. That might be one reason. But yeah, so I think so there are furry cons in China, and I think they are getting more and more popular. So I suited in China before, in city centers of in Shanghai, which has like 20 million people, I think. That's the population of Shanghai. But so basically, when I was shooting in China, many of them could call out the correct term we just learned, like 兽装, which means fursuit. Like they could call out those correctly. So like just random passerby. So I think it's kind of popular. I think owing to like the popularity of them on I think the Chinese TikTok and stuff. So many people actually know about that, which is very interesting.
Would they know Furry?
Furry?
Yeah, Furry. Like furry.
Yeah, I think. I think that one is more in the like kind of the actual furry circle, because that one is less obvious than what it means, and it's harder to remember. I think the show one are very easy to remember because it has correct meaning and it's not a transliteration. Yeah. Okay. Any other random questions? Yeah.
When you say I am for like I am your character species, is it should? Is that more like a topic marker like in Japanese, or is it more like to be like it would be in English like a verb?
I don't know Japanese, so I don't know topic marker.
Well, it's like the verb to be.
Yeah, I think it's the verb to be.
Okay.
Or I don't know. I didn't study
No,
Chinese.
it is the verb to be, but it's also the same character as yes. So 是, like when you answer yes or no question, you can say 是. Like no one really speaks like that, but it's the formal answer. But also like 他 would be like he or she, and like 他是 descriptor would be like he is or she is something.
Okay.
And that's also the same thing you would use to to say your name. Like 我是敖飞, you would also say that, like similar to English, I guess. I am. Yeah.
What tones should we use for your name?
Oh yes. Good point. Good question. So, yeah. So it's Fei. I transliterated back to English, I guess, with that, but that doesn't convey the tone at all, I think. Because I think people would say, I don't know, how would you say this? So that's not the correct tone, right? Yeah, I think the Fei one is the kind of the different tone there. Yeah, and my actual name also has that character in it, and no one could pronounce it with the correct tone. Yes, but now all of you could pronounce that with the correct tone. Fei.
Fei.
Okay. Okay. So I think we are at time. Exactly at time. Okay. Last minute question.
How to say thank you?
I didn't. Yeah. I forgot. Yeah. 谢谢. Yeah. So that is the weird, the weird thing we didn't learn. So the I is 谢. 谢 the same.
谢.
So 谢谢.
谢.
I saw someone else raise it. No question. Okay. Before everyone leave, join the Telegram channel for Chinese learner if you want. It's also in the handout you scan. And if you want to learn vocabulary, use the Pleco app. It's a very, very good app. I use it even though I'm native Chinese. And there are some other more resources Yachi put there, but I don't know any of them.
Do you have a
join the
Xiaohongshu we can follow?
chat. Huh?
Do you have a Xiaohongshu we can follow?
I don't. I really should have one, but I don't. Yes, but everyone check out 小红书 now that you know how to pronounce it.